I'm going to say some things that people may not agree with. And this has to do with something that just happened. Brand new. Sean Combs trial. I would say Diddy, but I won't give people the pleasure. I call him Puff. Now, first things first. I'm not a fan of Puff. As a person, as a musician, businessman, respect is respect. But I'm not a fan of his. Always thought he was a weird dude. Always thought he was a bad person. Just by his public aura that he put out, where he was a douchebag, and everybody loved it. Everybody thought he could do that because he had the money, which shows the brain rot that led to where this whole situation got to. First, the way that leading up to the trial, the media and people tried to disparage this man's character. And there were people going to say, oh, well, he's a piece of shit. Fuck him. No, no, that's not how the justice system works. Justice system works is that you are innocent until proven guilty. You people made him guilty before he was proven anything at all. If you recall, his house was raided not by the FBI, but by Homeland Security, which led you to believe that there was an ongoing crime that they were trying to find out about. Cassie's shit is not new. And they did not find that video of him beating Cassie at his house. You make sense out of that for me. How he would have a video of it after he demanded that he get it to hold on to it? You idiots. That's just a lie. Why did Homeland Security go in there? Because they had no grounds to go in there with the FBI. So they made it a national security issue where they have a lot of leeway. He went to Antigua when they raided his house. They made it seem like he was running. He came right back. Demanded a speedy trial. Spent a year in prison before anything was adjudicated, before he was accused of before he was indicted on anything. Tell me when you see something fishy. I repeat, I'm not a fan of Puff at all. I believe he did do fucked up things. I'm not even talking about the shit that was on tape. I believe he's done a lot of fucked up things to people over his career that he's gonna have to answer for at some point. But I asked myself, why now? And why did they make it seem like he was committing crimes still right now? For all we know, Puff is a completely changed man. That's the old Puff. But if I recall what I saw in social media and in some sensationalized papers, that he was trafficking children, he was raping children, he was raping Will Smith, Usher, Justin Bieber. He's the reason why Aaron Carter killed himself. He tried to rape Carl Winslow from Family Matters. Like, word, y'all said so much about that man, and then they have a trial that held him in prison for a year for them to investigate. They had access to everything that he owns, everything his family owns, and all they found was a video of him beating up his girlfriend in a hotel hallway and baby oil. And that was enough to make everybody say he was a monster of epic proportions. Or was Mace? Wait, did Mace testify? Hmm? Hmm. That story that Cameron told about when he found the dildo at the house that Mace was staying at that belonged to Puff. Did he get in court and tell that story? Hmm. How about everybody else who had all the stories about Puff? How about 50 Cent? 50 Cent go to testify? All the stuff you know about Puff? Hmm. So the evidence that everyone swore they had on Puff was an ex-girlfriend who he obviously battered before, and a random woman who no one knows. Is there any uh, motive? Let's look at motive on both sides. The victim, quote unquote, and the accused uh, perpetrator, Puff. Let's look at hers first. Does she have motive to lie in this case? Money, the fame she was trying to get from being an artist in the first place, and from her own story, she stayed in an abusive relationship, sexual abuse and physical abuse, because of her lust for fame and money. Right? That's her own testimony. That's why she stated it. And those things were so strong, money and the possible fame, that they were considered coercion and and like basically forceful forcing them into this prostitution. That is so ridiculous. It's crazy. And that made me lose more respect for Cassie and feel and lose some sympathy for her. And that's not the first thing. The first thing is the video. No. I'm sorry. No, the first thing is that you sued him civilly first. You didn't come after him criminally. You sued him civilly because in the end, once again, it showed what you wanted was money. And if in fact he did this to other people, she would have known about it, and she didn't care anything about those other people. She just cared about the money. That's one. Two, that video with him beating her up. They say he drug her back to that room. He didn't drag her back to that room. He started to, but then he told her to get the fuck up. Now tell me why she walked back into that room. And don't tell me because she was scared of what he was going to do. Why wouldn't he have done what he was going to do right then and there in the hallway? He already had stomped and kicked her. Do I believe her story that he was trying to make her go back and have sex with somebody? No, I do not believe that. I believe his story that she found something in his phone, they got into an argument, and she left. Either way, he's wrong for what he did. It doesn't matter if I believe his story or her story. It's just that her story is too fucking convenient. Her story is there to promote sympathy. His story is there to say, no, this is what happened. Didn't say what she found in that phone. I don't know. Maybe they did. I don't care. But that seems like it. Because if it was what she was talking about was so horrific, she would have ran out of that room. She didn't run out of that room. And then when he walked away from her and walked back into the room, she walked back in there. I don't care what anybody says. That's when all of the fault is off of him in my eyes. I mean he's still wrong for what he did, but legally, me holding him responsible for what happened after that point, unless he killed her, she walked into that. She accepted whatever the fuck happened. I'm sorry. Let's be real. Let's all be adults, man. This is like the Mike Tyson, Desiree Washington situation. Why'd you go to his room at 12 midnight, his hotel room, man, you didn't know, and you knew him to be a brute for a living? I, a grown man who considers myself able to defend myself, would never go to Mike Tyson's bedroom after midnight. As far as I'm concerned, the motherfucker turns into a gremlin. I don't care. I'm just not going to be there. There's nothing we have to do or talk about after midnight that we can't do in the public eye. You're crazy. Fuck out of here. I don't buy that. So her walking back to that room, her going for money first instead of going for it to get him in jail first, says to me that it's bullshit. It says to me that it's bullshit. All the other little parasite fish that tried to get their little civil cases while this is all going on also shows me that it's bullshit. Once again, you would all those civil cases, how come none of you were in that criminal trial then? How come none of you were a character witness or even on the news saying what he did? Because you know you'd be liable for lying, and he has lawyers that can take care of you for that. So that all to me seems very, very weird. Now, also, how can you keep saying this man is accused of prostitution, right? When who was the John? He was the John and he was the pimp. But those women weren't prostitutes, because if they're prostitutes, that means they committed a crime as well. And did you refer to them as the prostitutes instead of Jane Doe? Was it prostitute too? Why? It's all about how they angled it to make it seem like these women were victims, like where he forced them into this life. No, you step foot first into whatever that went on. I'm not even going to commentate about what went on because you stayed there for years. Money should never be able to fix that, but you went for money. That's what you went for. You went for money, and years down the road, no less. And then you let people say things like he was raping Justin Bieber and never said, no, he didn't do that. Never came out in public and said, no, let's not do that. He's not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Saying he had sex with his son. No, you didn't come out to defend him. And then no one else came out to defend him. But then also no one came out to incriminate him, which says to me, not that he's guilty, but that there's something going on here. And then I look at the trail of every black billionaire is now either defunct or broke. Bill Cosby, Oprah, and they use Chappelle to do that. And you can tell Oprah's broken because she was going for Kamala and she lost. Oprah wouldn't have lost that years ago if Oprah didn't do that for Hillary. If she did, Hillary would have won. Prince and Michael are dead. The most wealthy black artists that own their own shit. They're coming at Smokey Robinson now. Let's not even talk about Ye. Every single black billionaire. And they're trying to get Jay-Z on the same thing they're trying to get Puff on. But see, the difference between Jay-Z and Puff is that Jay-Z and Puff, rather than try to figure out why people were trying to do this, they knew it was coming, and they knew what they were doing, and they said, you know what, I'm gonna take this head on. I'm gonna get out here and be like, okay, do what you want. Go ahead, yeah, ransack my house. I'm gonna fly out. I'll be back. They wanted him to run. They wanted them to do the OJ. You people think you're so smart, and think a little bit deeper. What did Puffy get found guilty of? Look up the Mann Act, people. The Mann Act was made because a black man was having sex with a white woman and they hated it. So she had to be a prostitute, and they made a law about it. But Jack Johnson took mad black women back and forth across lines who may or may not have been prostitutes. Never ever got arrested for that. I always tell people the Mann Act, the second N stands for nigga, because it's only for us. Matt Gaetz, by his own admission, took an underage girl out of, or even, it doesn't even matter, but everyone going to her age, took a woman, several women to some Caribbean or resort or whatever, or island, and to have sex. And they did drugs, admitted to it. Why is he not in jail for the Mann Act? That holds a 10-year maximum and no minimum. You know why there's no minimum? So if they ever did have to lock a white guy up for it, there'd be a reason to let him off. Famous names that have been locked up by the Mann Act, obviously, like I said, Jack Johnson, the first one, Malcolm X, before he was Malcolm X, and now Puffy. It's funny. How can you be taking prostitutes? Once again, how can you take prostitutes across state lines to have sex? What kind of prostitutes have a contract? Wasn't Cassie an artist? And once again, they were prostitutes now? Is that what we're going with? Because once again, if they're prostitutes, then they're criminals. And he was the pimp and the John. Hmm. This don't make no sense to me. This doesn't make sense to me. Just like Michael Jackson and Prince dying of the same thing doesn't make sense to me. Michael Richards has what is his name? No, not Michael Richards. Yeah, Michael Richards is a whole other story. Keith Richards has done every drug known to man. He's walking skeleton, but he's still alive. But Prince and Michael, they died out of nowhere. Same fucking thing. Both of them doing fentanyl. Doctor prescribed, and no one knew it. Fuck out of here, man. Because they couldn't handle it. Because they were such. That sounds like a white person's explanation. No one can dance like that without hurting themselves. Are you serious? I know niggas in the hood's been dancing as long as Michael, still doing it, and working a full-time job. Why is no one seeing this? Bill Cosby got arrested on a case where he already had a plea. The evidence they used against him was the evidence he gave in his plea. When does a plea expire? When the DA expires? That's not a real thing. When does a settlement just disappear when the district attorney retires? That's bullshit, which is why they had to let him go. Don't believe me? Look into it. I told everybody it was going to happen. They just did it to destroy his character because he was the most respected black man there possibly ever was, even more so than Martin Luther King. And just to remind everybody, he's the one that paid for the sound system at the I Have a Dream speech. They got Bill because Bill was a powerful activist who knew black owned is the only way they're going to respect us and treat us like human beings. Same thing Puff knows. The same thing Michael and Prince knows, which is why Prince had such a fight to get his own music and own it himself. The same reason why Michael owned all his own music and the Beatles' music. But you look at all these men, and they were all made out to be sexual freaks. Every single last one of them were made out to be sexual freaks. And I want to bring up R. Kelly because he's another one who would have owned all his music if he didn't fuck with Aaliyah and he stopped fucking with young girls. But he couldn't do that. So fuck R. Kelly. But it's a reason for this. R. Kelly was doing what he was doing for a long time. And no one did anything. Same thing with Bill. Same thing with Puff. They let them do that so they could build up a catalog so when they needed to bring them down, they would bring them down. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't have brought them down because of that. I'm saying you should have brought them down as soon as they did the first thing. You let a lot of victims get victimized because you were trying to set up a paper trail to keep this nigga in line. And they're not just trying to send them to jail. They come to them and try to get them to play along with the Candace Owens role. It's really distorted that, and I want people to really look at that. And him winning that trial, I hate to say it, but it's an OJ situation. I didn't give a fuck about OJ before his trial. I knew who he was. I love football. But that's my father's favorite running back. I never really gave a fuck about OJ. But I realized the only evidence they had against OJ was he ran. It's the only evidence they had. And if I put myself in that position, I would run too. especially back then, they beat Rodney King for being drunk. They saying he killed a white woman. Mm-mm. Sorry. And I still believe OJ didn't do it. If y'all want to know why, I'll tell you what happened. And it's 100% the case. If I'm wrong, prove it to me. But I have it. But that'll be on another episode. But wake up, people. Fuck that shit. Like this trial is a message. This trial is a message that they try and get you. Donald Trump got found guilty on 34 counts of fraud and got off with no jail time. These motherfuckers want Puffy to go under the jail for taking a woman across lines to have sex with her. Like no one's done that ever in life. And now they tried to say this man married killed his wife. They tried to say he bombed Kid Cudi's firebombed Kid Cudi's car. Like how did he have all the time to do that and make $1 billion? This and he's not Elon Musk. He wasn't born into it. Puffy made that billion. Let me tell you right now, Puffy made that billion. I got so much respect for him as an entrepreneur because that's hard. That Puffy and Jay-Z, those are the American dream. Someone who made it from the bottom to the top, made it from nothing from something. Y'all think Trump's the American dream? He started out with $300 million. These motherfuckers started at Monopoly, not even on the board, and then bought their piece and moved their ass around and bought everything up on the board on their own. And y'all are trying to tell me that every single black man that does that is a sexual fucking pervert or some kind of fucking criminal. Y'all can't sell me on that lie. Y'all can't sell me on that lie. And the proof of that is I told everyone this was going to happen, and that's Tyler Perry. This is the time that they're trying to prove that black people aren't worth shit where every stereotype they said they are. They're so strongly, that's why they got rid of DEI saying it was for us. It wasn't even for us. They're just using us as the scapegoat again. The same time, the last time they used us for the scapegoat was the Civil War. Wake up. What are you doing? We need people to have a society. We don't need money. Right? Every person in America can do the same work they do right now without getting cash in your hand at the end of the day. Just knowing that when you get home, you're going to have all the things like the grocery store still going to give you the food because the grocer has to do his stuff so he can get a house. So on and so forth. Like everybody, all the things are here. Now that we've built a society, all we got to do is just keep it going. We don't need money. Like that's what y'all don't understand about socialism. That's all is that money makes you corrupt. Money makes you want to do things like rob from somebody else. If everybody got PlayStations, you're not going to rob them up, them motherfucker next door for his PlayStation. If everybody got TVs, you ain't going to want to rob somebody for their TV. If everybody got food, you ain't going to want to rob somebody for their food. Why would you? I mean, please, please, guys, wake up. Appreciate you listening. I'd like to hear your comments. I'd be happy to have this debate through text, or we can do it on the live stream. Let's stop leaning to the left and leaning to the right. Let's move forward. Appreciate you. Peace.